Hi, this is Rip and Joe with Dover Living. Today we want to talk to you a little bit about the different types of pools, specifically three types: vinyl, fiberglass, shotcrete / gunite, concrete. So I think we're going to start off talking about the difference between shotcrete and gunite. Joe, if you can take us.
Yeah, a lot of people really don't know a difference, and a huge amount of customers that have met don't even know what the word shotcrete means. They just because gunite, the name gunite is so uh, renownedly known for the word gunite, they just assume they have a gunite pool. And I've been involved in both of them. So here's the difference between a gunite and shotcrete, basically. Gunite actually comes in bags. It's shot the same way through a hose, but it's gunite is mixed with sand. It's mixed with water on the back of a flatbed truck up your driveway. Shot through a hose, and it has air in it to make it stick to the walls. Where shotcrete, same way to put it into the pool, but it comes in concrete trucks, comes directly from the concrete plant. So everything is mixed in from the concrete plant before it gets there. And really, I mean, great pool builders use them both, so there's nothing wrong with either one. I kind of prefer the shotcrete, but don't pick out a pool builder because they use one or the other. I don't think it's just kind of a personal choice. I think gunite, everybody used it a lot in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, and I think shotcrete have we reverted back to using that because shotcrete's been around ever since before gunite was around. So it's not a new
Yeah,
it's
before
not
I
a
was
new
doing this.
product. Yeah.
So some of the pros and cons for me is, well, the gunite, there's less people trained to do it. There's less companies out there trained to do it. The operator at the end of that hose has to adjust how much air, how much sand, how much water, all that at his hose there. So that guy is critically important in that he's very knowledgeable on that. Because if you get that mix wrong, you're not going to get the PSI you want. You maybe have too much sand, too much water, something like that. Also, the guy mixing it back in the truck over there, he's mixing it on site. So
Yeah, he's drinking a soda, putting the
yeah,
soda down, and he's just kind of pouring everything. And there is a rhyme and reason on how it is, but it's not coming out of like
but it's very dependent on both those two guys there. Now,
100%.
the pools I've had done that when they're done with them, man, it looks like you don't even need a finish. You just
Yeah.
fill the water up with you fill the pool up with water. You're good to go. It's so crisp.
Yeah.
I do know too, like if you're going to do a multiple day, it's easier to make a cold joint with that as opposed to the shotcrete. Now the positives of the shotcrete is it's well also too on the gunite. There's going to be less rebound, less waste. They're only going to mix what they use, so you don't have that extra concrete at the end left over either in the truck or whatever.
So basically, there's not really a right or wrong on which one to use. There just is a difference. So it would be nice from your pool builder to at least know what he's.
Oh, I would go
What
the pool
he's,
builder what
you
they're
know.
comfortable doing.
Yeah.
That's the way I would go. If they're gunite guys, go gunite. If they're shotcrete guys, go shotcrete. As a homeowner, I would not make any decision based on that.
Yeah, no, I would not. I wouldn't either. And honestly, the companies that use shotcrete is going to say it's better. People use gunite going to say it's better. So ask the question, but don't pick out your pool company based on which one of those that they use. So, Rip, how about because even though I've been involved, being a designer, it really doesn't matter whether you have shotcrete, gunite, vinyl, fiberglass, as far as designing everything around the pool. But as far as the structure itself, you have a little bit more.
Okay.
You have a little bit more insight, kind of on vinyl liner and fiberglass than I do. I've been involved in them, but not.
I've had my hands on all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, let's stick with the shotcrete and the gunite. So let's just call that concrete pools. And so basically, you're going to have concrete and you're going to have reinforcement rebar, steel rebar in there on a grid. And there's some coverages that go in front of that, behind that, and how much steel and how much, what size steel you have in there is going to vary on the application. But
And then that you also put, so that you'll also be putting like a Pebble Tech or a plaster finish, and then
So
you'll
most of our
use
pools are
tile.
pebble, yes, but so our plaster, which is what we grew up with. You'll have a waterline tile. The reason you have that waterline tile is because plaster and pebble are not made to come out of the water. I know down in some of the warmer states they will do that. In our area, we do not.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. Is that several years ago? I remember when Pebble Tech first came out, or Pebble Sheen, or Stonescapes, whatever product you're using. The big advertisement in the sales for that was, hey, if you do Pebble Tech, you don't need tile around your pool, because very, very quickly that sales part of it definitely changed, because we've gone back on 2 or 3 pools now that was done years ago, and there definitely is, where the sun hits the plaster of the Pebble Tech, there's a line there that is bleached out on that 3 or 4 inches there. So I don't think it took them long to kind of change that sales technique on saying you don't need tile anymore. But obviously with a fiberglass pool, you can still do tile looks, but you don't need it. Or vinyl, you don't really
So
have
let's
a tile.
hop into that. So what a vinyl pool is. So, and these kind of go cost-wise in general, go vinyl, fiberglass, concrete, and
So the vinyl being the least expensive.
yes, and kind of longevity, I think, is probably similar to that. The fiberglass guys would argue differently, and but in my experience,
So a liner pool, how often do you need to swap out your liner? How long is it supposed
well,
to last?
in all these, the surfaces really comes down to how well the chemistry of the pool. The chemistry of the pool water really dictates how long things are going to last. Liners can be 5 to 7 years, maybe. That's about the same as a regular plaster.
Okay, so if you use a Pebble Tech, they have a 15-year warranty, but how far?
20
How
years
about,
is kind of normal.
how about a fiberglass? Is there ever any maintenance? Or
I don't
anything
know
on
the
fiberglass?
timing on fiberglass,
either.
but we've done some patch repair on them where, well, they kind of eventually do kind of lose the surface there, and you can kind of come over and recoat them on there. But let me back up a second and just explain kind of what a vinyl pool is, what a fiberglass pool
Yeah.
is. We talked about concrete. So a vinyl pool is the construction of it is it's usually 36-inch panels, and they're either metal or fiberglass, and they are dug down. The pool's dug down 36 inches. That's kind of a frame that kind of comes around, and then the depth below that is frequently it's concrete. It's also vermiculite, where they'll kind of smooth that. I guess some guys do sand down there on the bottom, and that's kind of the bottom there, and then you come up to the structure of that 36 inches, and then what a vinyl liner is in. There's tracks that run around there, and the vinyl fills in there and kind of comes down there. These typically come as kits. You can have them custom made, but normally they're a kit. You can get different sizes, different shapes, different depths. They do make this tile that clips on and goes around there to kind of make it look like. I looked at it. I didn't think it looked real. So I mean, it is real tile. It just didn't look real. So, but I've had customers that actually love it because it's more cost effective, but also it has a soft floor on the bottom. I've had people choose a vinyl pool specifically because they like the way it felt on their feet.
So, and there's nothing wrong with a vinyl liner pool. It's just this past week I was designing a backyard for this couple in New York. He's a fireman, she's a teacher, and they're doing a vinyl liner pool, and for budget reasons, but she wasn't really happy with the location the installers were doing the pool. So I redrew up her plan, and you know what? On their yard, it's going to be an awesome backyard. They're going to have this covered space coming out of their back door. They're going to use pavers. And I think we said in another segment, and I'll continue saying it, it doesn't matter what your pool's made of. It can be made of fiberglass, liner, shotcrete, gunite. To make it a wild backyard, it really has got to do with what you do around that pool, especially what you do on your deck. So if your budget can get you something besides concrete, I would definitely go that way. So don't worry about what your budget is, because some people, they have different limitations. So just worry about, hey, you can make it look awesome no matter what.
Well, and the finishes beyond the pool, the coping and the patio, etc., can be the same no matter which one you go to. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. So then next would be your fiberglass. So the vinyl pool is limited only by, if you're going to stick with the kits, what's available by the kits, and they get pretty big and pretty deep.
Yeah, that is a difference because you are limited on those the vinyl and the fiberglass as what the kits are made of. So you are limited as far as like your shapes because you can't. Really,
But the vinyl pools, you get pretty big ones.
Can
Where
you?
the fiberglass is, and I know there's exceptions to all this, but the fiberglass is limited to what the truck can drive down the street carrying, right? Because this is coming pre-made from the manufacturer, and it's what size they can fit on. Now they can get pretty big. They can get pretty long.
They're
like
kind
38
of cool.
feet long.
They're kind of. I mean, I've been involved on the installations, and it's pretty cool because they get a crane out there and they lift those over your house. I mean, it's a very cool thing to watch. Really,
But so quick. You can actually like be done in like days.
you can.
and have
That's
be swimming.
and I guess that's another thing is on your time limits because it's going to be a lot quicker doing a vinyl liner pool and especially a fiberglass pool. Fiberglass is really quick, and then a shotcrete gunite pool, it's just going to take you longer because there's more steps.
And there's
there.
also cure time. So, when you're waiting for the pebble and the plaster, typically we wait 30 days.
Yeah.
Where the vinyl and the fiberglass, you can use day one.
Yeah.
Once you put water in it.
Yeah.
So fiberglass is just that. It's made out of fiberglass. It's limited by the size of the truck in general. The hole is dug. Sometimes you'll have retaining walls and that kind of stuff. Usually a crane is bringing it in and setting that in place. They backfill it with usually wet sand is what we did, and fill that all the way up. And then we did one that, I mean, at the end of the day, it was gorgeous. We had bluestone coping. It had a spa built into it. It had a little bit, had a couple fountains built into the side that kind of rainbowed up, kind of came down like this, like a little rain curtain like that. And bluestone coping. We had an automatic cover on there. Salt. All these can use salt. There's no issues with that. So it actually turned out really, really nice.
Now, you do have your you have your limitations though on what you can and can't do on vinyl and as far as like water features or can you do?
Well, it's funny you say that.
Can you do raised walls on the side of them? Or
so
can you
one of the very first vinyl pools that I built, and budget was not an issue whatsoever. It's just this was at least one of the people that wanted it because of the softness of their feet, and he wanted a waterfall going into it. And so I love doing waterfalls, and I was just like, we can't do this. We need to do it out of concrete. But he was pretty adamant, and so we did it, and it turned out fantastic. We have a waterfall that kind of you use a rubber liner with the boulders coming in. Comes over, spills right into it. Looks gorgeous. Turns out fantastic.
And is there a certain distance? So, like, if somebody wanted a raised wall, like next to the pool, to have an upper area, or somebody wants an exposed wall behind the pool, whether it be vinyl or
so on a vinyl pool, you have brackets that go down. I think they probably stick out about 2 feet or so, down 3 feet. So I would think for an exposed wall on that, you would have to get beyond that 2 feet. On a fiberglass, we went right up to the wall.
Yeah.
It actually was an exposed wall. It wasn't really part of the
So you're
pool
going to have
design.
some kind of limitations on those.
Both of them, you can add a spa. Fiberglass actually has some where you have them built in, but they also have shelves and stuff like that you can add as an add-on kit.
I tell you, now I think as far as looks wise, a built-in shotcrete gunite spa looks better to me than what goes on a vinyl pool, because basically it's just fiberglass. It's a fiberglass shell, and you set it in and you build this wall around it. But I tell you, the comfort in one of those to me is a lot better than the shotcrete or gunite spa, because basically you're sitting on concrete with some jets, and they both get up to 103 degrees, but you can build you can order more comfortable prefab spas to sit in. Right? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, so like on a fiberglass off the shelf, you can get 100 jets, the little jets coming out there. And the reason being you can't do that on the shotcrete. You can get ones with a lot on the shotcrete. They make manifolds that have like 4 arrays. So you could have 8 jets and something about this area. So you really could do that. But the plumbing behind there is 2-inch, 3-inch, 2.5-inch plumbing feeding all those, and you've got the body of the jets behind that. So it takes up a lot of room in that concrete and all that steel. Or on the fiberglass, you've got that hollow space. You got like this much space between the wall of the outside and then where the actual shell is here. So you got all in here, and you can do all this spaghetti little fittings going all through it. So you have a lot more. Obviously, these are pre-made, but
Yeah.
you have a lot more options on how many jets you can have. It's easier to contour. You can do it in the shotcrete, and I've certainly done some of that, and I've seen guys do a lot of that a lot better than I've done, but it's very difficult. So I think if you're looking for therapy from lots of jets, maybe fiberglass would be a good way to go. And in that case, maybe it's a separate area from if you're doing a concrete pool. Pull that out and do its own little area for
Yeah,
it.
I totally agree. Okay, guys, I hope you guys have learned something. And so I think the bottom line is it really comes down to what your budget is. And, you know, we're designers, but for years we were also in the pool building business. And so we know all the aspects of that. So we just try to give you, you know, our own opinion and our advice to you. So anyway, like us, give us some comments. Love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.